Come here, look. If you've played Stardew Valley and planted a vineyard, you know it looks just like plopping a stick in the ground. And if you thought about planting an actual vineyard at all, you would probably guess that it takes a little more than just plopping a stick in the ground. Lots of things get plopped in the ground. Thankfully, I have access to a young vineyard to show you exactly how that looks in real life. As you can see, there is a lot of structure put into place before any sticks get plopped. End posts need to be erected at like a 45-ish degree angle, support wires strung between the end posts, and irrigation lines installed at the bottom to make sure the vines get plenty of hydration while they grow. For planting the actual vine, you will need a spade and gloves, a kneeling pad, and the vine you'll be planting. Doesn't it look so small? I was shocked at how small the vine itself was. When you place the vine in the ground, make sure first of all that your hole is deep enough. It needs to be roughly 9 inches deep and 15 inches wide with a small mound of dirt in the bottom. We want the mound to act as a guide for where the roots will rest. Place the vine in the hole gently, then start pushing the dirt in around it to support it standing up. Once the vine can stand up relatively straight on its own, tug up on the vine gently to straighten out the roots below. We want the roots to be hugging the mound we left in the bottom of the hole, so the roots are protected, spread out, and pointed down. We don't want any roots trying to climb back up the sides of the hole towards the sky. Once the vine is planted, you'll repeat that process as many times as you need to plant the whole row, or however many rows you're planting. As you can see here, there are white tubes put over the young newly planted vines to protect them. These are called grow tubes, and they keep out a lot of bacteria and pesticides that can be carried by the wind, as well as bigger pests like birds, rabbits, and deer. These tubes stay on until the vine grows too big to be contained by them any longer. This vineyard began with the grow test block, so we'll get to see the vineyard in multiple states of growth. Here are the young vines nearly ready to be out of their grow tubes. This takes several months of growth after the initial planting, which in North Texas happens in April. So these vines are doing great! Look at how big they can get in the first year of growth. Once the vine feels the call of spring after the deep sleep of winter, they'll go through what is called bud break or bud burst. The leaves will grow and suddenly the vines are bursting with life. Then the vines will produce little tiny bunches that look like little baby grapes, which are called the grape flowers. They have little green caps on them, so once the caps fall off, the pollination cycle starts. When the bunches are covered in white spikes, that's when you know the pollination has already begun. Hi, it's me. In 2023, all the footage you've seen in this video was taken in 2022 when I originally planned to release the video. A lot has happened, but I'll go into that in a different video. So, when the harvest happened last year in July, August 2022, my parents had a bunch of people out to help them harvest the grapes, which is wonderful and awesome and exciting. However, I was not prepared as a performer to gallivant out there in the midst of summer, wearing my fake beard and hat and miming all the little harvesting things that I would be doing for the video. Yeah, I was not prepared to do that so publicly in front of people I didn't know, and some of whom I did and have known my entire life. So I chickened out and I did not record any harvesting. I'm so sorry. But I do have some pictures, so I'll show you a few things. It went really well. It was really cool to see. We harvested several different varieties of grape. I know Pickpool was one of them, and Bordeaux. Those are the only two. I think in Syrah. I think those are the ones that we harvested. But I should not be doing that based off memory. I should actually ask my parents what we did, but whatever. Okay, so Harvesting in real life is super satisfying. It's also extremely hot when you do it in North Texas because it's in like July and August and September, depending on which grape you're doing and where you're located and blah, 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 blah. It is unbelievably hot. So you have to wake up super early. You have to stay in the shade as much as you can, drink lots of water, take lots of breaks, wear long sleeves. Like, it's a whole thing. I almost passed out one year helping my dad at one of his friends' vineyards back when they were like learning about all this stuff, and it was very embarrassing. I was dumb back then. I did not drink enough water. Anyway, when you harvest the grapes, you know, you're wearing your gloves, you have these little like pruning shears, and you just find your little bunch of grapes and you snip them off the vine, and then you gently place or gently drop or plop your grapes into a bucket, and then you find another one and you keep doing that. Sometimes you'll find spiders, sometimes you'll run into wasps or other things, but you know, it's no big deal. You're mostly focused on how freaking hot it is. The whole experience is really great, and I really love doing it. Once the harvest is done, you'll end up with more than you expect, more likely, depending on, again, how many plants you plant. For example, my parents had us harvest, it's not their whole vineyard because we're still in the middle of planting the rest of the vineyard. We're actually finishing the planting this year, which is very exciting. But they have like an insane hundreds of vines. So we ended up with hundreds of pounds of grapes. They filled up these giant white tubs. I'm doing this because you can see it in the screen, but in reality, the tubs are like, you could stand like probably anywhere between 5 and 10 adults, depending on their size, in the bin. It's like a giant bin. One of those weighed like 330 pounds. They had already taken out the weight of the bin itself. So the grapes weighed like 330 pounds by themselves, which is wild. So we were very surprised by that volume. Thankfully, my parents are not looking to start a winery on top of this vineyard because that takes a whole other process and like working with the government to get your licenses and stuff. It's like a whole thing. So they sold their grapes to a friend of theirs who is doing that. And we are very excited to try that wine when it's ready. And I don't think it is. I don't remember. But we're very excited. Very excited about it. So after the harvest comes the fall and winter, obviously. The vines will hibernate like most plants and get all sad looking. Lots of sticks, lots of looking quite dead, but they aren't. The vines are just sleeping, getting ready for the next season. Once they're in their hibernation state, you can relax as the vineyard tender. I know there's an actual word for it, but I can't think of it right now. You can relax. You don't have to tend to them quite as much. You just need to make sure that, you know, when it rains that you're taking care of them. And but eventually, before spring happens, I think it's generally started in like January out here in North Texas, you start pruning. And so you prune back the plants pretty severe. It can feel devastating to the planter. In the first year, I think it is, the first or second year, you have to like cut it back so much that it looks like you're just starting over. It's a big pain and very sad, but they just grow back so much stronger and fuller, and it's incredible to see the transformation that these vines go through year after year after year. So that's what it looks like to actually plant a vineyard. I know it's not perfect, and I know I didn't get to show every little thing. Like, I wish I had a better video of the like mound of dirt in the bottom of the hole and like tugging up on the vine and all that, but it's the footage that I got, and it's the footage I wanted to show you guys, and I just really appreciate your patience. I have been working on this. That's not true. I've had this idea in the bank for months, and I'm so excited to actually be showing it to you guys. So that's what it looks like to plant a vineyard.